done enough to standardize our traditional medicine. And curiously, I remember one of the research done in the past about one traditional medicine that enhances erection. It was found that it was even Viagra, that was incorporated in some of those so-called traditional medicine. The fraud, the fraud is actually, horrendous. You cannot just imagine what it means. So that standardization and checking, I guess NAFDAC is now empowered, because I remember in the past years ago, we were still having challenges in trying to check, to analyze the content of a lot of those herbal and traditional products. So, but again, once you don't standardize, everything goes. Anybody will sell anything for you in the bus, on the street, even in the church or mosque. They will sell us for you as traditional medicine. Okay, so in the world nowadays, we are seeing that synchronicity, kind of handshakes across orthodox medicine, traditional medicine, or what I will call a mystical or esoteric medicine, where people use meditation, where you use relaxation, to actually calm mind and and further make your other medicine work. This discussion is ongoing and they're working on it. Okay, even the role of prayer in care, in human health. People are looking at everything, but for our own, we are still at the level of magical thinking. We want it to just happen magically. You decree and it happens. Decree and it happens, and not just enter our medicine. It has eroded the politics and the way we look for money. Let it just happen magically. So magical thinking will not solve anything. It's critical thinking that will actually solve anything. We should be able to do our things and test. If we are saying that this medicine, this traditional medicine, this leaf can cure this thing, apply it now. Let's see how the result is. Do something like that. We're not in contentions. We're in cooperation. We should cooperate and we'll not, contend with ourselves.
Okay, well, this is a good way to drop it. We'd like to thank you, Doctor, for coming on the program and enlightening us. We do hope that the government sits up not just to make policies and laws, but also to look at all the corners that will make those policies and laws to succeed, especially engaging the critical stakeholders in whatever they want to say and whatever pronouncements they want to make. It's not just in health. We've seen them make pronouncements in so many other things that we're just looking at them like, did they think it through? Or did they just wake up one morning and say, okay, let me make the people clap for us? We'd like to thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We've been talking with Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu, public health physician and publisher, CEO, Health Nika. And the argument today was that hospitals have shunned Hippocratic oath and law in treatment of gunshot victims. Okay, he was giving us the reasons why these things happen and what needs to be done for this law or policy to come to fruition and people do the needful. A basic thing and very important thing was security. And then a second thing was who foots the bill and so many other things. So we do hope that whoever is watching right now, whoever is listening, will do the needful. Let's start from the basic ones and then we move up. And this is where eventually we're going to draw the curtain on today's breakfast. And remember, our quote for today was that health is a relationship with your body. Be sure that you have that positive relationship so that your body will stay healthy. And if it stays healthy, that is the greatest wealth that you can have. You've woken up today, and it's a very important day. We do hope that we will all make the best of today for our own benefit and to the greater glory of our country, Nigeria, and not forgetting glorifying the Lord who made this happen. Thank you so much for being a part of our show this morning. Let's do it again tomorrow. My name is Nyamgul Agaji.
My name is Adejoke Lasisi. I'm the founder and creative director of Planet 3R. At Planet 3R, we convert textile and plastic waste into eco-friendly products. The motivation actually came from a rural community in Ibadan here. Whenever it rains, the whole place, people will not be able to go inside the community. If it rains overnight, people will not be able to go to school, they will not be able to go to work. Anytime the water now goes away, you now realize a lot of waste being. And I was like, this is actually the root cause of this problem, improper waste management system. Then I look at it that, what can we do to solve this problem? And that was how I started using the weaving skill that I've acquired from my mom since I was 9 years old. Then I started using it to like weave those waste to now make sure that we now convert them into beautiful items like bags, shoes, even clothing. I actually participated at Womenpreneur Season 3, that was 2021. One of the things I really gained at that time was business development. You know, it's not just about the talent now or having to know how to convert the waste or having the idea, but to be able to put it into a successful business. I really appreciate what Access Bank is doing for entrepreneurs. Let us now say women now, because most of the time women don't really have much of these advantages. I love the fact that there's an initiative for women. I want to encourage you to make sure that you go and apply honestly. Your life will not remain the same again.
An African girl somewhere is sitting at home, accompanied by dreams that seem so far away. Africa is one of the continents with the highest out-of-school percentage in education, and girls are at an early disadvantage. The sub-Saharan Africa records about 18 million out-of-school girls. This gender gap extends to the tech space with a projection of only a 33% global female workforce representation in tech firms for 2022. Let us help change the stories and numbers. Africa Agility's Project Train a Girl campaign is working to help train African girls in tech. You can donate as little as $2 or 2,000 naira to help a girl in tech get her heels in the door. Visit www.africaagility.rallyup.com/PTAG to donate.
Our growing-up memories are often fragments, brief moments, or a canter, which together form the scrapbook of our life. There we derive the wisdom and knowledge, so deep that they cannot be wished away. My name is Professor Deji Fashui, and here are my good old days reminiscence. Although I was born in Akure, Ondo State, my dad, Chief Gabriel Oluwadare Fashui, hailed from Ilogbo Ekiti, Ido-Osi local government area of Ekiti State, and mom, Florence Idowu Fashui near Falabis from Ado Ekiti. Dad retired as the program manager of Ondo State Agri Development Program, while mom retired as a senior matron in various government hospitals in Ondo State and later Ekiti State. As the second child of 6, growing up was beautiful as we were categorized among children of the elites in a completely egalitarian society where civil service was a leveler and devoid of the present commonplace of bribery and corruption. In those days, anyone living beyond his means was immediately ostracized and seen as a leper by the community. Only permanent secretaries could ride Mercedes and Volvo cars. The saving grace for a lot of public civil servants then was the Udoji Lajes. My mom was one of the beneficiaries. As a nurse, she was able to buy her first car, a Datsun 180K, sometimes in 1975. Prior to that period, the whole family had to make do with my father's Peugeot 504, and of course, a manually driven car. Don't just start imagining how the whole family will cramp themselves up in that car for a family outing. Yet, we were generally contented and there was dignity in labor. In those good old days, education was compulsory and largely free at primary school level for everyone in the southwestern part of Nigeria, including Akure, where I grew up. There was no class discrimination or distinction in schooling, as virtually all schools were government-owned. I remember with nostalgia that my parents decided to allow us go to St. James's Primary School barefooted like other children, not because they couldn't afford the shoes, but because we must not be different from other pupils. I ended up becoming the senior prefect of the primary school, representing the school in various debates and quiz competitions frequently organized by government at the time. I left St. James's Primary School for the prestigious Christ School Ado Ekiti, where I had the greatest foundation and molding like many other peers at that time. Those days in Christ School at Ekiti afforded us the opportunity of meeting colleagues from different ethnic groups in Nigeria, especially those from the eastern and midwestern part of Nigeria. We cultivated their cultures and found a blended midpoint of interaction devoid of animosities. We were simply members of the same family. Till date, most of us set mates as of that time still find it funny reliving our lives and times at Christ School. Still, no class segregation in spite of our individual achievements. Nobody cared if you are a high court judge, captain of industry, governor, or a big name somewhere. Everybody goes by his first name, and your name is your name. God saved those of us with bad aliases in those days. Mine shouldn't be called in public. Please don't come on this thread and spill it out. Oh, don't just come and spill it out. Exciting good old days. My undergraduate days at the University of Ibadan were also relished with nostalgia. Life was simply good and a lot tolerable. It was survival of the fittest, as nobody tells you when to wake up, eat breakfast, or go to class. It was my first total freedom from home, and I did not bungle the opportunity as some of our friends were christened NFA, no future ambition. Life was not as riotous as it is today, although there were few cases of spoiled brats who will do anything to lure us to exotic life on campus. But I was already fully formed in the secondary school, and the Christian ethos were never compromised. I must confess, we had our own fair share of pranks in those days too. Dad and Mom, if you are listening, let me apologize in advance for this disclosure. I remember we would steal Dad's car key for some midnight parties without his knowledge, even while living under the same roof. We would push out the car outside the compound before starting the engine, travel occasionally with the car, arrive back home safely before the family morning prayers, wash the car, and we would pour a lot of cold water on the bonnet to cool the hot engine, to forestall suspicion of a hot engine, particularly from our FBI trained investigator mom, who was sure to spot any infraction. Anyway, it is what it is. Guys must be guys. In all of this, we did not lose sight of the lessons. We were taught and we imbibed the ideals of hard work, which we were told to be the prelude to a successful life. We were taught that nothing good comes cheap, and that there is no shortcut to success in life than hard work and commitment to your chosen career. Those lessons paid off and helped a great deal in my rise through the ranks to become a professor and the dean of the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences in Ekiti State University. I must not fail to mention that my journey in life took me at some point to the eastern part of Nigeria, where I had my youth service and my master's program. In those days, the East welcomed me with open arms. It gave me the best opportunity of appreciating the culture, mentalities, norms, and idiosyncrasies of others, and the need for a harmonious relationship. This taught me a lot of tolerance with the understanding of different cultural backgrounds. I was fully accepted into their fold. I had cordial and almost filial relationship with my supervisor, Professor F.C.O. Biora, who took me as a son. And on a lighter note, I almost brought home an Igbo lady as a wife. Those were days when we saw each other as one, unlike today when the apparent divide is very disturbing. Talking about passion, my experience in the computer world woke up my latent talent in ICT, and this motivated me to later establish a computer outfit in Akure, Ondo State called Workman Computers. This company was an instant success, even though with a lot of rough takeoff. Workman is still flourishing under the management of my wife while I've taken to academics. Another big lesson in entrepreneurship. My worry is the continual slide in our social values with a concomitant depreciation in ethos of hard work and dignity in labor. Unfortunately, our new generation of youths have stood these ideals on their heads, believing that they can start life from the peak of life. The current situation and mindset of a sizable number of our youth stem from the growing decadence of our society and the lack of proper planning for the teeming youth by the successive governments in Nigeria. We seem to continuously mortgage our future by disregarding the spate of the conscienceless youths we breed today. Concerted effort must come from parents, opinion leaders, government, religious leaders, teachers, at all levels of education and the youths to correct this cankerworm which makes us appear to be sitting on a keg of gunpowder. All hope is not lost. I am a believer in a Nigeria that will work. I hold on tightly to the tiny but strong rope of hope that with a will to make the difference, we can change the narrative. Our children must learn from those rosy days of ours, take the lessons, enjoy the tales, and make a positive move towards surpassing our modest achievements. Yes, it can happen. Proudly a Rotarian, I therefore join Sir Shemori Badejo in this collective patriotic drive towards a greater tomorrow for our youths, and even for us too. It is possible. It is achievable. Thank you and God bless.
I will take you through this amazing lesson today.
Welcome to Cross Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us.
Good morning. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. This is the news brief. The Nigerian Senate has on Wednesday suspended Senator Abdul Ningi for 3 months over allegations of 3.7 trillion naira padding of the 2024 budget. Before Senator Ningi's suspension, the upper legislative chamber was thrown into a chaotic session following deliberations on budget padding allegations made by the lawmaker. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Solomon Olamilekun, moved the motion that led to the suspension of the Senator Ningi, explaining that the figure is not contained in the budget because some of the agencies are on first-line charge. However, Senator Ningi, who was given a fair hearing, argued that 3.7 trillion naira cannot be accounted for in the 2024 budget.
The two documents we have here was shared to the 109 Senator of the Senate. Contained in this document, under the Volume 1, Paragraph 2, 3, and 4, is the breakdown of the 28.77 trillion budget that was passed. And from paragraph 7-8 are the breakdown of the budget, which we call the budget details of the entire MDAs. And when you add this figure together, as contained in this document for the entire MDAs, it comes to 25.4 trillion naira. If you had listened, all your agents have listened to the Arise interview and the Correspondence Chapel interview, I said categorically, the president's powers stopped as a proposer, as he proposed the budget. And I said, there is no way the National Assembly will add anything on the budget and it becomes padding. The tapes are there. I said the National Assemblies have powers, and you cannot call that powers padding. And I said I'm very grateful to the presidential spokesman who, encountering me, said the National Assembly added 1.27 trillion. And I was very clear. I was not aware of the addition. I was not even aware, as I'm seated here, of the full budget of the National Assembly.
Senator Agom Jarigbe Agom emphasized that all lawmakers are culpable in the alleged budget padding scandal, with some receiving 500 million naira and others as much as 100 billion naira. This led to a rowdy session, with Jarigbe's claim causing a delay of nearly 30 minutes.
Forth and back on these issues and coming up with issues of the budget and individual issues concerning what came to our various constituencies. If we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press? Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes.
Okweyemi Bamidele, the Senate leader, accused Senator Ningi of plotting a coup against the Akpabio Senate presidency, claiming it was a result of the June 13, 2023 election, which elected Akpabio as Senate president.
Number one, I stand with due respect to say that what my big brother, distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi, who I respect so well, planned to do or set out to do was tantamount to a civilian coup, which has failed. And in doing this, he wanted to use the platform of Northern Senators Forum. God bless all those who have dissociated themselves as members of Northern Senators Forum. I am telling you, sir, and I want Nigerians to know, I say it for history. The last time the people of South that you represent had a chance to be Senate president was over 40 years ago. The last time the entire people of the South had a chance to be Senate president was during Obasanjo regime, when he went to the Southeast. 5 people were elected because they were impeached in quick succession. But as soon as he left the South, we had peace and stability again because we will always cooperate.
Also, Jimo Ibrahim, a Senate Appropriation Committee member, proposed Ningi's suspension for 12 months due to allegations of criminal misinformation and breach of peace. However, Senator Asuku Ekpenyong argued for an amendment requesting a reduction in the suspension.
I agree that where distinguished Senator Abdul Ningi shows remorse in writing through apology to the Senate, that such should be deliberated and decisions should be taken by the Senate if such occurs. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Yes. Accordingly, the Senate hereby warns distinguished Senator Ismail Akawu from posting or reposting falsehood or items capable of causing division or breakdown of law and order in the country.
The Senate should send a warning letter to Senator Suleiman Abdulrahman Kawu, and this should be warned to stop posting, inciting informations that are not right, and then they should tender apology. It should stop posting all those informations with a way of distorting facts.
I would like to amend the prayer as moved by Senator Jimo Ibrahim. I amend that the suspension period be reduced to 6 months. I so move.
Any seconder?
Shortly after his suspension, Senator Abdul Ningi resigned his position as the chairman of Northern Senators Forum. In the meantime, Senate President Godswill Akpabio accused Bauchi Central Senator Abdul Ningi of damaging the Senate's image due to his 3.7 trillion naira budget padding allegations. Ningi claimed that projects worth 3.7 trillion naira in the 2024 Appropriation Act are traceable and that the National Assembly passed 25 trillion naira instead of 28.7 trillion naira. The presidency denied the allegations and Ningi insisted the budget was padded. Akpabio challenged Ningi to apologize for damaging the Senate's image.
I want Nigerians to know that what the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presented to us in a joint sitting end of November 2023 for consideration was 27.5 trillion. So at no time did the president present 25 trillion. Now, the presidency has even come to clarify that. And if there is any addition to the budget, it's in the sum of 1.2 trillion. And he has the removal.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu forwarded the 2024 budget proposal to the House of Representatives, focusing on revenue and expenditure, fiscal and development policy, and the renewed hope agenda. The proposal prioritized healthcare improvement, job creation, youth empowerment, and increased agricultural productivity to lift citizens out of poverty, in line with the 2024-2026 Economic Recovery and Growth Plan.
The Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has prepared the 2024 statutory budget proposal of the FCT, which is forwarded herewith for consideration and approval by the National Assembly. The budget proposal has been prepared on the basis of the FCTA's revenue and expenditure forecast and is aligned with the fiscal and developmental policies of the federal government and the renewed hope agenda. In addition, the budget proposal takes into consideration the 2024-2026 Economic Recovery Growth Plan, as well as key assumptions in the 2024 Appropriation Act. The FCTA is prioritizing improvement in healthcare services, job creation, youth empowerment, and increased productivity in agriculture in order to lift as many citizens as possible out of poverty.
Terrorists have attacked the Buddha community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, abducting around 61 people. The attack occurred on Monday night at 11:45 p.m. and the kidnappers invaded the village in large numbers and started shooting sporadically. The swift response of soldiers curtailed the number of people abducted. The removal of Army Commander Tega has resumed banditry activities around Kajuru local government villages, causing fear among residents. Men, women and children, including a nursing mother, were among the victims, and residents are appealing to the government to take action and ensure their loved ones return. Meanwhile, Nigerian army officers have arrested a family of 8 in Onitsha, Olona, for running an illegal arms and ammunition factory. The family confessed to running the factory as a family business, manufacturing and repairing arms, drones and explosives. Brigadier General Ugochukwu Vitus Unachukwu, commander of the 63 Brigade Asaba, stated that they fabricated AK-47 magazines and rent guns to criminals.
Quantum of weapons they are manufacturing, both for the insurgents and for armed robbers in Delta State. So these people here are major contributors to the insecurity, not just in Delta State, but even across southeastern Nigeria and neighboring states here. The warning to such people is that we will get to you. Anybody that is involved in act of insurgency or criminality that is against the peace and stability of Nigeria, we will get to you. No matter how you run, no matter how you camouflage your activities, we will unravel it, we will get to you.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has shifted the trial of 5 loyalists of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara on terrorism charges to March 19. The defendants have been returned to Kuje Prison in Abuja on remand due to the gravity of the charges against them. The Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Lukman Fagbemi, SAN, filed a motion challenging the competence of the terrorism charges and the territorial jurisdiction of the court to entertain the charge. The Inspector General of Police, IGP, slammed the charges on January 25 for allegedly invading, vandalizing, and burning down the Rivers State House of Assembly last year. Defense counsel to the 2 journalists of National Pilot newspaper, Mohammed Abdullahi and Owonishola Olayemi, have asked a revenue court sitting in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, to dismiss the case of direct criminal complaint leveled against them and their media outfit. They're asking the court to strike out the case for lack of local standing by the complaint therein. The duo of managing director of National Pilot newspaper, Billy Adedamola, and reporter Ahmed Ajikobi were arraigned before the Revenue Court in February 2024 following a direct criminal complaint leveled against them by the Senior Special Assistant to the Kwara State Governor on New Media, Olayinka Fafoluyi, in his direct complaint to the court, alleging offenses of criminal conspiracy, inciting public disturbance, injurious falsehood, criminal defamation, and cyber-stalking. At the resumed hearing of the case today, counsel to the first and second respondents, Mohammed Abdullahi and Owonishola Olayemi, were arguing on a notice of preliminary objection filed before the court dated 15th of January 2024. Prayed the court to refuse hearing the direct criminal complaints for being civil in nature by its contents and filed without due process.
The case filed by the complainant is filed in his personal capacity. So the challenge we are giving that particular case is that the complainant does not have the legal standing, that it does not have the legal capacity to bring this case to the court. Because the alleged injury that he's saying is suffered by somebody else does not affect him. So, and again, there's a particular section that he brought, that is the cybercrime offense. This particular court is too small, that it doesn't have jurisdiction to entertain that particular case.
We also raise the issue of Cybercrime Prevention and Prohibition Act, that this court does not have jurisdiction to entertain that case. When you look at section 51 sub 1 of Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention etc. Act, you will discover that it is the Federal High Court that has jurisdiction over cybercrime, any offenses related to cybercrime. So,
some former employees of the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education stumped the government house gate in Port Harcourt, asking the River State government to pay them their 9-month salaries and reinstate them. They were sacked after the government detected discrepancies in their recruitment process. During the protest, the former employees expressed grief and anger at the manner their employment was terminated without getting paid throughout the 9 months they were engaged. Spokesperson for the protesters, Boni Berenduma, said that apart from asking for their unpaid salaries, they are also demanding that the government reinstates them.
Us to come and pick our various appointment letters. We have come. We came and we picked our appointment letters. We worked for 9 months. In this period of 9 months, several things happened. People in the private sector have to resign because they've gotten government jobs that is sustainable, where they can put in their best to improve the state. I know of somebody that is a friend of mine, that's a lecturer at Lagos University. His family is in Port Harcourt, but because of the nature of his job, he was at Lagos. The man resigned from his job that he's teaching in Lagos and came to Ignatius Ajuru just for him to come, and the government is cancelling his job, leaving that man in disarray. It doesn't make sense. We have worked for these 9 months. We want our job back. We want our salaries paid, because it is highly not fair of the government of this state to treat us this way. We are citizens of this state. We work for this government. We supported this government. He made a promise when there was chaos in this state. He said he is for the youth. He is for the people of this state. Wanting us to come and pick our various.
We move now to Delta State, where the Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, has urged Nigerian universities to improve research and innovation to address the country's challenges. He commended the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, FUPRE, for their ingenuity and pledged to support education in the state as part of his MORE agenda. Oborevwori believes that universities must focus on relevant research to solve unique challenges in their host states.
We find out today that most of the universities today, they don't do research. If you are so outdated, encourage them to continue to do research. It's very key. Because when you research more things, you're able to do more things. Like what you just said now, that a village that was polluted, people took it over. Unproductive. Now it's not productive. Without research, you cannot do that. Encourage them to go into serious research. As a specialized university, there are a lot to gain from that university.
Stay with us as we now take a short commercial break. We'll be back.
name is Adejoke Lasisi. I'm the founder and creative director of Planet 3R. At Planet 3R, we convert textile and plastic waste into eco-friendly products. The motivation actually came from a rural community in Ibadan here. Whenever it rains, the whole place, people will not be able to go inside the community. If it rains overnight, people will not be able to go to school, they will not be able to go to work. Anytime the water now goes away, you now realize a lot of waste. And I was like, this is actually the root cause of this problem, improper waste management system. Then I look at it that, what can we do to solve this problem? And that was how I started using the weaving skill that I've acquired from my mom since I was 9 years old. Then I started using it to like weave those waste to now make sure that we now convert them into beautiful items like bags, shoes, even clothing. I actually participated at Womenpreneur Season 3, that was 2021. One of the things I really gained at that time was business development. You know, it's not just about the talent now or having to know how to convert the waste or having the idea, but to be able to put it into a successful business. I really appreciate what Access Bank is doing for entrepreneurs. Let us now say women now, because most of the time, women don't really have much of these advantages. I love the fact that there's an initiative for women. I want to encourage you to make sure that you go and apply honestly. Your life will not remain the same again.
Thanks for staying with us. Other parts of Africa now. 4 individuals lost their lives and 3 others sustained injuries from lightning strikes in the town of Moginqual, Nampula province in Mozambique. The nation braces for Storm Filippo, with the southern and central provinces on alert for severe thunderstorms. Filippo has made landfall and may intensify into a severe tropical storm before dissipating at sea. Increased rainfall has already been recorded, and there are fears of mudslides. Boats and vessels are being warned by Mozambique's National Institute of Meteorology to take precautions. Outside Africa, Hezbollah and Israel have been engaged in near-daily cross-border fire since the Gaza war in October. However, recent Israeli strikes have hit Hezbollah positions further north, raising concerns of a full-blown conflict. Hezbollah claims to have fired at least 100 rockets into Israel following Israeli forces attacking Palestinians at the Al-Aqsa Mosque during Ramadan. The Israeli military had previously fired rockets towards Lebanon's eastern city of Baalbek, killing 1 person. The advanced Iron Dome defense mechanism in Israel thwarted the 100 rocket attacks. In business news, the World Trade Organization says Nigeria has lost its leading position in the agriculture export market because its agricultural commodities do not meet the sanitary and phytosanitary requirements of the foreign markets. According to the WTO, despite the abundance of arable lands and increased investments, the nation has transitioned into a net importer of farm produce that was previously cultivated domestically, undermining efforts aimed at ensuring food sustainability. The Director General, WTO, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, disclosed this in Abuja at the launch of 7 trade support programs initiated by the WTO ITC to boost the development of Nigeria's trade and industry standards. According to Okonjo-Iweala, the agriculture sector in Nigeria has the potential to be a major driver of export diversification and job creation, but too much of this potential remains unrealized due to a variety of barriers. She said the failure to comply with regional, global, and import country sanitary and phytosanitary standards had resulted in loss of sales, revenue, and hard currency due to export rejects. In entertainment, Nigerian comedian Seyi Law has reconciled with fellow comedian Noble Igwe following a public dispute. The disagreement stemmed from a perceived slight by Igwe towards Seyi Law's wife, which allegedly led to online harassment. In a social media post, Seyi Law acknowledged having a productive conversation with Igwe. He expressed respect for Igwe's commitment to the community and offered a personal apology for any tweet deemed offensive to the Igbo people. Seyi Law further pledged to avoid future involvement in online discussions regarding Igbo politics and history. And finally, sports news. Nigeria will go head-to-head against 18th-ranked Uganda in the third-place match of the women's cricket event at the ongoing African Games in Ghana, as the event's debut reaches an exciting climax at the Achimota Cricket Oval in Accra on Wednesday. The female Yellow Greens lost by 5 wickets against Zimbabwe in the semi-finals, while Uganda lost by 50 runs against South Africa to set up the clash and leave the first 2 teams on the continent to also slug it out for silver and gold. The third-place match between Nigeria and Uganda will be played at 10 a.m. Nigerian time, while the final between South Africa and Zimbabwe will follow by 3 p.m. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thanks for being there.
I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
My name is Dakpo Ademosu. Here is my good old day story. I am always filled with nostalgia each time I remember those good old days. I look into the past with joy and gaze into the future with hopes of brighter things to come. I have many stories to tell. Was it when I followed my mother to J. Allen at Okebola in Ibadan to buy her brand new Mitsubishi Lancer car at a price of 1,310 naira? Or was it when she decided to change one of the tires of the very same car that she has used regularly for over 3 years at 22 naira? Those were interesting days when you dare not bring home a strange pencil or ruler without getting the beating of your life as if you stole a goat in the marketplace. Days at my former school, United Missionary College, Ibadan, UMC, when you would prefer to run away instead of facing a beating for losing your Cortina shoes, even though it was only one leg you lost, but still the same offense. After a school football 3-a-side set with our monkey posts. Oh, our parents at that time certainly did not spare the rod just to ensure that we are all who we are today. We surely turned out good. Wow, life was good in those days when every naming ceremony must come with puff-puff or pancake for the whole neighborhood. And each time you see those covered dishes arriving, you know that somebody is doing a naming ceremony nearby. We all rejoice because we have to share in the puff-puff. And same thing goes with the Ileya meat. Every neighbor shares the Ileya meat with the neighbors. And later years, we were always excited when school vacation was approaching for possible openings in organizations for a 1-month vacation job, which is supposed to train us on the value of money. And we were trained to develop a sense of responsibility and a culture of savings. How can I forget growing up with Kolo in my possession, which now all the children call piggy banks? That is, if any child has a piggy bank anymore. Every child had one those days. Sadly today, the narratives are different. Wealth acquisition mentally has taken over the drive for relevance. Even those with no visible trackable jobs have become role models of some sort, rolling out stocks of followers on the internet with no visible means of income or revenue that can always be substantiated. And I stop to think, why can't we have a brighter future that will be better than those good old days? Can we change the narrative? Yes, we can. Our children deserve a brighter and a better tomorrow not a good old days, because that is gone forever, but we can still build on the future with discipline, foresight, and perseverance. Let us make the difference now for the sake of our children's tomorrow. Today, I join Shemore in his collective drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.